Hello, everybody. Today, let's solve this absolute value inequality that says absolute value of x minus 2 closed absolute value less than 3. To solve this, we have numbers here between negative 10 and 10, and let's get some kind of idea of which of these numbers will have us when the absolute value of that number is less than 3. So, like for example, suppose I put in negative 10 in for the absolute value. Okay, so right now we're trying negative 10. So let's put negative 10 in for the absolute value and have it be less than 3 and see what happens. The absolute value of negative 10 is 10. And is 10 less than 3? Well, that's false. So negative 10 would not work. What about negative 9? The absolute value of negative 9, let's have this be less than 3. Absolute value of negative 9 is 9. And is 9 less than 3? Well, that's false too. So negative 9 is not going to work. How about negative 8? Absolute value of negative 8, less than 3. Absolute value of negative 8 is 8, be less than 3. Well, that's false too. So it looks like it's going to be false for maybe most of these numbers. But let's now go to, say, negative 3. Let's jump to negative 3. So we'll have absolute value of negative 3 less than 3. Absolute value of negative 3 is what? Well, that's 3. And it's 3 less than 3. Well, that's false. Well, let's go to negative 2. Absolute value of negative 2 is less than 3. Well, the absolute value of negative 2 is 2, less than 3. Well, that's true, right? Not so fast. Not false, but true. So let's mark negative 2 then. Okay, how about negative 1? Let's see, absolute value of negative 1, less than 3. Absolute value of negative 1 is 1, less than 3. Well, that's true also. So negative 1 will work. How about 0? Let's try that. Absolute value of 0, less than 3. Absolute value of 0 is 0. And is 0 less than 3? That's true. So it looks like it might be true for the rest of these numbers, perhaps. All right, well, let's jump to, say, 2. That's the absolute value of 2, less than 3. Absolute value 2 is 2, less than 3. That is true. And now let's jump to, say, 3. Absolute value of 3, less than 3. Let's see, absolute value of 3 is 3. And 3 less than 3, well, that's false. And 4, absolute value of 4, less than 3. Let's see, absolute value of 4 is 4, less than 3. Well, that's false also. So it looks like beginning at 3 again is not going to work anymore. All right, so let's highlight all the numbers where it worked. It's like negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2 is when it works. Okay, and these are precisely all the numbers that are between negative 3, exclusive, between negative 3, exclusive, and 3 exclusive. So let's use this idea to solve this inequality more directly. All right, let's go back to absolute value of x minus 2, close absolute value less than 3. So when we have less than 3, we want to be between -3 exclusive and 3 exclusive. So to write that, we'll say -3 less than, and then we'll take out the contents of the absolute value, which is just x minus 2, and less than 3. All right, so it's 3. We want to be between -3 and 3. So in general, or let's say another number, say 4, if that was less than 4, then we would say between -4 here and 4 here. Or if this was 10, then we would be -10 here, less than the contents of the absolute value, less than 10. So in general, whatever this positive number is, then we change the sign over here. It'll be the negative of that number, less than the contents of the absolute value, less than, and then just bring this number down. All right, so that's how it works when you have an absolute value less than a positive number. Okay, so now that we have this, let's get the x by itself. To do that, we'll add 2 to all 3 sides. And that's going to be -3 plus 2, which is -1, less than x, less than 3 plus 2 is 5. And this literally means all the numbers between -1 exclusive and 5 exclusive. So let's put this on a number line. Okay, so we'll put an open circle here on -1 because we do not want to include the -1, and that's because -1 is less than -1 is a false statement. Likewise, since 5 is not less than 5, we do not want to include the 5, and so we'll put an open circle right there, and we want all the numbers in between -1 and 5. So this is the shading of the entire solution. Now let's use this graph to write the answer in interval notation. All right, so we would say open parentheses -1, comma, 5, close parentheses. And there's the answer. Now let's try the same trick on the absolute value of 2x, close absolute value less than 3. All right, so we'll change the 3 to a -3, put it right here, less than, take out the contents of the absolute value. So in this case, just 2x, and then less than 3. Now getting x by itself, this time we'll divide all of the sides by 2. And that'll be -3 over 2, which is -1.5, less than, 2's cancel out, so we just have x, less than 3 over 2 is 1.5. Let's graph this. Pretty much similar as before, except we'll just have different numbers here, but similar setup. And then use this graph to write the answer in interval notation. So parentheses, -1.5, comma, 1.5, close parentheses. And there we go. And that's how to solve an absolute value inequality where it's less than 3, or in general, less than any positive number.